The Brew House was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery, but the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewHouse.com. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. It's my pleasure to be joining you with Bill Pucko, and Bob Bleier is our special guest in the panelist seat. We appreciate you coming in. Bob Bleier, class of 1982 at Aquinas, played at Richmond and New England Patriots back before they were the Patriots.
Exactly.
Mike Catalana, co-hosting for 13 WHAM News.
Good
and
to
for
be back.
WCMF, Pat Duffy.
Hey.
Let's talk a little bit, talk about the old days. I think the first thing is you wound up in 3 NFL games for the strike team. You quarterbacked the Patriots back then. What was that like?
You know, it's funny how you look back on life experiences and you kind of wonder how you got where you are. It actually seems like it never happened, which I hear often. So I was blessed. I went to Richmond. I wasn't a starter at first at Richmond, which was really tough to handle. As you play sports, you're always used to being on the field. I was off the field. A few times I almost transferred back to the University of Rochester and played Division III football. A number of discussions I had with my folks. I finally get a chance to play at Richmond, and I actually ended up playing in about 43 games I think I started. Got an opportunity in the blue-gray game, went to the combine, and then it just kind of catapulted from there. I didn't expect any of this. It just happened.
And there you are. Now you wind up in an NFL uniform, as a, they call it a scab, it's a strike breaker and stuff.
Yep.
It wasn't a pleasant experience, was it?
It was difficult. I signed with the Patriots prior to the season starting as a free agent. So I was there on their roster, and when the strike broke, the Patriots had made a deal with the Bears to bring Doug Flutie back to Boston. And he and I together crossed the line. I don't think a lot of people realize that Flutie was one of the people that crossed the line as well and played during the strike season. So they convinced me that I would have an opportunity. I'd finally get to play in a game. And as a young athlete, how could I say no, right? I mean,
you have to be happy now that you played in those games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have had a chance. So it was there
resentment? And I would have asked you, I says, whether you would have done things any differently with all this, hindsight. But was there a lot of resentment? I mean, were there like lasting hatreds involved with this?
Actually, you'd be surprised. I think the people who held the animosity were the ones that had their positions in jeopardy. Maybe second, third on the depth chart when all these rookies come in and threaten their positions and their livelihood and their careers each year. So I think those were the ones, the third guy on the depth chart at quarterback was the one that kind of butted heads with me all the time. He was the one that was the most difficult. But as far as like Steve Grogan, when he was there, he supported me in everything I did. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Well, and there were a lot of big name guys who eventually crossed the picket line. A lot of Dallas Cowboys did. Lawrence Taylor did, and played in those games. Played against the Bills in that beautiful game that they played in the strike-shortened season. So,
but it sounds almost romantic now, right? Like, I mean, listen, as a Bills fan right now, I would love to go back to the preseason and do that all over again because I hate the feeling I have. But my favorite games. Every year, it's that 4th preseason game because there is that fine line between this guy could have a job that's going to pay him $750,000 or he's going to be working at FedEx next week. And not that that's a bad job, but it's not, you'd much rather be a player in an NFL game. And I would love to see, for 3 weeks for games that counted, guys that may not be NFL players, no offense, Bob, like going out there and seeing what they can do against each other.
To tie it to the Bills, Rex's father, Buddy, was the Eagles coach, and his approach was, I'm not coaching these guys. I support my players. And he basically blew the whistle and said, go out there and play. They were an embarrassment, that team. Got his players back. They all supported him, but they lost all 3 strike games, which kept him from making the playoffs that year. But he did build a lot of trust with his regular players because of the way he treated the replacement players.
Bob Bleier is our special panelist this week on the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. We're going to talk about the Bills next. The Press Box, brought to you in part by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Call 262-COMP, C-O-M-P, today. The Buffalo Bills Quote of the Week was brought to you by the Rochester Geico Office. Give the Rochester Geico team a chance to see how much you could save on all your insurance needs. Call or stop by the office on West Henrietta Road, open Monday through Saturday. Our Geico Rochester Quote of the Week, Rex Ryan once again talking about Greg Roman.
I'm sure he does feel badly about doing it. I think they got along, I think even more so over the last year working together, but I don't like the way it was done, but I see why it was done. I think there's been issues with this offense and the way it was getting done, and I could see it coming. I don't like the process and the way it ended up happening.
Our NFL football segment brought to you by Connors and Ferris. Let's continue on that. Does this make a difference? And you're all over this team. Do you have reason to believe that a new offensive coordinator is going to make a difference?
I mean, if it would have made a difference, why didn't they do it in the offseason? You're going to take a guy who's never held a position like this in Anthony Lynn, and you're going to throw him out there for the first time ever, essentially running someone else's offense with the players that couldn't execute the offense that got the guy fired in the first place. What about that sounds any kind of promising about what's going to happen against Arizona? Anything? Anybody? Promising for anybody? No, it's not promising. Why does this have to keep happening, Bill?
Season ticket holder, obviously.
Oh my God! Like, I'm sitting in the stands Thursday night and I'm watching all this stuff happen with the offense. And yes, you get those big plays every once in a while, but all of the big plays are broken plays, right? Goodwin gets loose. Salas all of a sudden comes free across the middle of the field. They cannot consistently move the ball. And I was telling you, coming in today, this was the first time in a decade where I legitimately felt good about this team. You got Cahiz with the offense. The offensive line's fantastic. The offensive coordinator's coming back and they were moving forward, and you got a possible star quarterback. And somehow we are worse than we've ever been in these 16 years we've been in a holding pattern. I can't take this anymore.
What's that picking for me? You got Arizona giving 4.5 at Buffalo.
I'm taking the Bills. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I'm taking the Bills just because this is one of those games, they can't ever just be bad. They have to tease you bad, and they're going to win a game. It's their holy crap win. They shouldn't have won that game, and it's this week, and I'm taking the Bills.
It's part of the deal in the NFL, isn't it? Sort of teasing you, right?
It really
Pick
is.
the game for us, Bobby.
I would love for the Bills to win. I squeeze for them every week. My family, my friends, the culture here in upstate New York, I'm taking Arizona.
Arizona giving 4.5.
Giving 4.5. I
Mike?
think their offense is going to be too potent.
Yeah, I like Arizona as a team. I like everything that they do. I do think the Bills are going to stay in this game. I think the defense has to play better than they did on Thursday. And I think those players are quality players. I think Gilmore and Darby, you rarely see them get tortured like they did by Bearded Brady, Ryan Fitzpatrick, in that game.
Shut up, Bearded Brady. God, I hate him so much.
He was pretty good. I think the defense played better, but I think Arizona wins a relatively close game. So if they're getting points, the Bills are getting, 4.5? I'll take the Bills to lose a closer game.
The line, Bobby, the line comes down when Roman gets fired.
Right.
Why is disruption an immediate positive thing for a sports team?
I think it's a creation of camaraderie. I think the team's going to rally. I think they're going to they understand that maybe there's a lot of heads on the chopping block. I think they're going to probably raise their level, like Pat says. It could be their oh my God win this year. It really could be. So I wouldn't be surprised, but looking at the pattern of how the Bills have played, their secondary has been weak on both corners. They're giving up a lot of yards. But if you look at the game, Mike, you see that every throw Fitzpatrick had, he had a guy in his face or he got hit. He was making some great throws. I don't know if any quarterback could do that consistently for 4 quarters against Buffalo. I really don't.
All right, let's take a secondary game. I'm going to take the Bills also. I'm taking the Bills too. Pick a secondary game.
I love I call them my Cleveland Browns week 1 against the Eagles, and they went out and got smoked by the Eagles. Browns, Dolphins, 10 points. 10 points. I have a rule. It says 10 points. I take who's getting 10 points. I'm going Brownies, Dolphins. You can't lose by 10 to Miami, right?
I like Detroit. I just think that they're hitting on all cylinders. I think their defense is strong. Green Bay's been struggling. Rodgers does not seem to be the same quarterback he's been over the last 5 years. I think that could be a good, strong pick. I like that one.
All right, what do you got?
I'm fully on the Wentz wagon. Arson Wentz.
Absolutely.
You know about that, right? He's on fire. Arson Wentz.
The Wentz.
Yeah.
Mr. Philadelphia.
But they move up in class. Now, they've been very fortunate. He's played great. Very fortunate to play 2 of arguably the 3 or 4 or 5 worst teams in the league, Chicago and Cleveland. He's looked great. He's going to come home. I think he'll actually get off to a good start. I think he'll play that way. But Pittsburgh has too much offense for the Eagles. Normally the Eagles getting points at home. Doesn't happen all that often. Pittsburgh, I think, is giving them 4.5 is the last that I saw. I'll say Pittsburgh to win that by a touchdown.
And I'm getting a point at Jacksonville with the Ravens going to Jacksonville. I think the Ravens are the worst 2-0 team in the NFL. Here are the standings for the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. Classy Wolf Media will be making a $500 donation on behalf of Connors and Ferris and in the name of the winner of this contest to Hunter's Hope. Christopher Mesh, partner in Connors and Ferris, making the picks this week, chooses Arizona over Buffalo and Miami over Cleveland. This portion of the original Rochester Press Box, brought to you by Connors and Ferris, like it or not, is next. The Press Box Trivia Question, brought to you by Sleep City. Queen adjustable bed with memory foam mattress, now $977. Save over $500. Shop Rochester's only locally owned mattress store. No pressure, no hassle sales experience. Here's a look at the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Sleep City. Queen adjustable bed with memory foam mattress, now $977. You save over $500. Shop Rochester's only locally owned mattress store. No pressure, no hassle sales experience. See New York in a whole new way. Amtrak is offering a 15% discount for all travel inside New York State and to Montreal. Visit Amtrak.com for the See New York discount. Safe, comfortable, affordable, and easy. Amtrak. Enjoy the journey. Welcome back. This portion of the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House, is brought to you by Amtrak Trains. Enjoy the journey. Like it or not, Bob, Eben Britton claims that he played half his NFL games and his best half of the NFL games stoned.
To me, that's absolute insanity. There's enough risk out on the football field as it is with the collisions, the high speed of the game, the size of the players. In my opinion, that's absolute insanity. You're putting yourself at a greater risk, greater jeopardy.
He claims it. He claims it's effective pain control.
Yeah, but I don't know if you could be thinking correctly. What do you think, Pat?
Well, I mean, listen, I know.
Why are we asking Pat?
Well, I do have the best beard on the panel. I don't know. You do high stress things better when you're more relaxed. I mean, maybe it's that. And again, to the pain control, maybe there's things he should have been feeling that he did not feel when he was high. So again, it's insanity to go out and do that to yourself, knowing there's going to be repercussions afterwards.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about it, okay, so saying he's high. All right, so is this something he's done the night before the game or the morning of the game to feel a certain way, but then maybe be a little more, have your, I'll say, wits about you, be less stoned when you're actually playing the game. I do understand the whole pain control part. There's a lot of players who will tell you that. It seems to be more after you've competed than while you're competing. What are we going back to? Yeah. Doc Ellis with his LSD and baseball years ago?
With the culture changing about marijuana in general, though, I mean, is there any chance ever that the NFL would embrace this?
I don't think it would be embraced while you're actually competing, right? I mean, isn't that a little bit of a difference in what you're talking about? And I would find it hard to believe that would help a player in that sense on an NFL field.
Pat, like it or not, we got the Rutgers athletic director having to apologize for taking in a beer to tailgate with some of his students.
My favorite part of this story is the reason he was up on stage to begin with was to tell the kids to calm down. And somehow, in a matter of 3 minutes, he goes from athletic director in a suit telling kids to calm down to chugging a beer on a stage. I mean, is this a negative for Rutgers? Because if I have a 17, 18-year-old kid that wants to go to a school and is going to have a good time, I want to go to the place where the AD's chugging a beer on stage.
I watched it because I had heard about it, and I thought it's ridiculous of him. Rutgers has had immense issues, even certainly with their athletic department, their athletic director, and I'm watching it, and he's in that mode. He seems a bit childish to then go into, I'm going to drink the beer. At a certain point in that setting, it's not like he's standing at the party having a drink. Like, he's in front of the whole crowd, decides to do it. I thought he was trying to be like one of the guys. You're not one of the guys. You're not one of the kids. He looked a little foolish to me. It wasn't anything so egregious. I think he looked foolish. Be the adult. Tell everybody this is what it is. Let everybody make fun of you a little bit and walk off the
You
stage.
look like you're dying to say something about this.
I watched the videos too as well, Mike. And you hear him saying, no, I can't do that. And no one would calm down. They wouldn't relax. And then out of, I don't know, spontaneity, I guess, he grabbed it.
Chug.
He
It
just
was a
popped
crowd
it. He
reaction,
talked.
too.
I saw him take a sip. That was it.
Yeah.
I didn't see him slam a beer. I saw him take a sip of the beer. And it was almost like peer pressure kind of thing.
Yes,
It was
exactly.
totally
We're
a peer-
apologizing for an awful lot of stuff.
I know, right?
Well, I don't think, again, it wasn't something so bad, but at that moment, you're the athletic director of the school. Just say it, take your heat for not being the cool guy, I guess, and walk off the
Can we
stage.
get him a beer? Chug.
He'd put it right there. Philadelphia.
That's it.
This portion of the original Rochester Press Box has been brought to you by Amtrak Trains. Enjoy the journey. Unfinished Business is next. The Press Box Stat of the Week brought to you by Fiondoc and Fiondoc. Remember, if you've made the wrong choice, it's time to make the right choice. Fiondoc and Fiondoc, New York's DWI leader for over 35 years. Visit golden outside or fluffy inside, deep pockets or delicious ridges, tasty egg or savory bacon. Experience Dunkin's new Belgian waffle breakfast sandwich. It's not this or that, it's all of it. America runs on Dunkin'. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. This portion, Unfinished Business, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat.
So I've talked at length on this show in this area about how much I hate Canadians, and I'm not going to. I despise Canadians, which is why what happened Tuesday night was so disturbing to me. World Cup of Hockey, which by the way I love. It's awesome, right? They should contract the NHL back down to 8 teams. That's how great this hockey has been. Team USA loses 4-2 to Team Canada to be eliminated from this tournament. And 4-2, it wasn't even that close. Canada could have beat them 10-1. John Tortorella, former Amerks coach, now coach of this World Cup team, has to be one of the worst coaches in hockey, professional hockey in my opinion. How he ends up getting this job, I have no idea. Because explain to me how. I watch all kinds of hockey, all of it, right? In all the juniors tournaments, right? The United States is right up there in the top 3 with a European team and Team Canada. And they compete in every single amateur tournament that you see, even ones with professionals. How? What's the difference? What's the difference between this one and Olympic hockey and World Juniors? You know the difference? It's John Tortorella. John Tortorella is such a bad hockey coach that he somehow takes a team that is top 3 in every tournament they play in and every level that they play and has them lose before they even get into the finals round. And I will never forgive John Tortorella for what he did. And I hate John Tortorella for all his quotes before. Really fired up about John Tortorella today, Bill.
A brief aside, I'm getting ready to watch the game on was Tuesday night, and I see a tweet from Pat. I hate Canada.
No, Canada is the worst.
Oh, Canada's the worst. Okay, just to
Big
get it
diff.
right. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I thought it was an 8 o'clock start. I thought the game had already started. I thought it was like 2. It's pregame. You were hating on Canada before the game
How
even
much
started.
I hate Canada, Mike.
Bobby, what do you got for us?
I don't think I'm going to have as much anger as Pat.
No one
I
does.
think I'm going to be a little bit more reserved. What I really want to talk about is the strength of Section 5 football this year. I truly believe that if you go, from soup to nuts at all the teams here in upstate New York, you're looking at Pittsford, you're looking at Aquinas, you're looking at Victor now, Hilton, Fairport. When Fairport is good in Section 5, I firmly believe football's good in Section 5. Fairport was a powerhouse in the 80s and 90s. They've been off the grid for a while. They're playing good football. So I think we have every right to be very excited about Section 5 football now. And I think that we probably will have a good state qualifying team coming out of this section this year. So get excited about Section football. Section 5 football is getting better.
Father with a horse in a race, right?
I do have a horse in the race, absolutely. My oldest son, Clay, is the starting varsity quarterback at Victor, so go Blue Devils.
That's acceptable.
We've had a lot of great golf events out at Oak Hill Country Club, and they're all based on the competition for the most part, right? The Ryder Cups, U.S. Opens, PGAs, you know them all. But there was an event this week called the Simpson Cup, and on the cool scale, I think this one is number 1. It is servicemen from the United States and Great Britain who have been injured or disabled in combat or with their troops, coming back to play golf against each other in a Ryder Cup style format. And we're talking about guys with everything from losing 1 or 2 limbs to having PTSD or whatever it is that they have had to deal with. And the coolest part of this is the opportunity for these guys to have some competition and to have the camaraderie. And you listen to them and they talk about how golf in some ways saved their lives and got them back with their guys and got them back to that feeling of a team and feeling of accomplishment. It's competitive. They want to win. The United States wants to win. Great Britain wants to win. It's only the 5th time they've ever done it. But it's mostly about these guys getting their lives back together. And it's the game of golf that did it. And congratulations to Oak Hill, who put together a fantastic event for them, made them feel like the true champions than they are. The Simpson Cup was probably in that way the coolest golf event Oak Hill's ever had.
Excellent. Oak Hill always makes us proud, doesn't it?
They certainly do in this case. And those players, you could just see it in their face, the opportunity to go there and play.
Bob, thanks for joining us. It was
Absolutely.
great. Contributed a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, thank you. It was great.
Mike Catalana, Pat, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week on the original Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House.